to change history? The arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. We will be the benders that moves history towards justice. And as Gaza goes, we all go. Gaza is where we assert that international law and human rights are the law of the land and the law of the future. Let's make it happen. Together we are unstoppable. Thank you so much.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Next, we have a short message from our friends at the Naturi Karta, who cannot be here with us today due to the Sabbath.
With the help of the Almighty, I pray to the Almighty to bestow upon me His truth and wisdom, that I may be worthy of conveying His message, and so sanctify His name and bring peace to the world. Assalamu alaikum. This message is being pre-recorded because as Jews we are forbidden to speak in a microphone on the Sabbath Kodesh on Saturday, on the Sabbath. We want the world to know that because we are Jews, true to the Torah, we are crying and hurting with the people of Gaza. It is beyond words, their suffering. We are beyond words, our frustration, our hurt, that this crime, this mass murder is being perpetrated in our name. It is anti-Semitic what the Zionist state of Israel is committing, their crime, their occupation, and the slaughter in Gaza. Please listen to this voice and free the people of Gaza, free the people of Palestine sooner nowadays. Assalamu alaikum.
Our next speaker is Dr. Mohsen Ansari, who is a physician and the president of the Islamic Circle of North America.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Okay.
Where do you want him to go? There is a little boy by the name of Jack wearing a blue coat, a blue puffer coat. He is 8 years old. Light skin, brown hair. And you want him to go? Please, Jack, if you hear this, can you please go to the horse statue? The man on the horse. He has a blue Adidas sweatshirt and black gloves. Jack, if you hear this, please go to the statue of the black horse, of the horse in the back. It is in the back of, or the stage if that's what's closer. Please make your way. Your family is very worried. We need you as soon as possible.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. My fellow American citizens, I am wearing a white coat today. And this white coat is a symbol of something which has never happened on the face of the earth. I am a baby doctor. I am one of those doctors which take care of babies in incubators, in baby cribs. And whenever a baby has a low oxygen, all the doctors, all the medical staff, all the nurses, they get worried. They spend their nights and days to save one baby in the crib, to save one baby without oxygen. Mr. President and fellow Americans, what will you say to those who cut off the oxygen for 500 babies? What will you say to those who killed 437 doctors? And Mr. President, let me remind you, you visited and put your hand on the back of the mass killers on the day when they bombarded Al-Shifa hospital and they killed 1,000 patients. My dear fellow Americans, we stand here to tell Mr. Blinken, listen, we salute to South Africa. You said they are saying things which are meritless. No, they are on the side of justice. They are on the side of American people. They are on the side of 65% of Americans. You are the loser. You are the one who was alone and 150 nations were against you in UNO. You are making us unpopular in the world. You're taking the American position of leadership away from us. So before I leave, I will say three things. First, what 65% of Americans and all of us think here, immediate ceasefire. 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 Second, stop giving us the lecture of morality. You like to have selective morality. Your morality and justice is different for Ukraine and different for Gaza. Stop this hypocrisy. And the last thing is stop funding apartheid killers. Stop funding them. Stop arming them. Stop the genocide. And Mr. Biden, Mr. Blinken, if you don't listen, get ready to pack your bag and leave the White House.
Bloody Blinken Genocide Joe. Both of them have got to go. Bloody Blinken Genocide Joe. Both of them have got to go. Our next speakers are those who have moral courage when their bosses do not. At a time where the political establishment has shown no morality, their staff has. And it brings me great pleasure to introduce our next speakers from Congressional Staff for Ceasefire and Biden administration staff, who will have their statement read by a man who has shown more moral courage than everyone in the White House and everyone in Congress combined. Josh Paul, the former State Department rep, who resigned over their stance on Gaza. Without further ado, I'll invite the congressional staff up first.
Hey everyone! Hello. My name is Ishmael, and I'm a Palestinian-American congressional staffer. I speak for staffers across Capitol Hill, Democrats, Republicans, and independents. Many of us have dissented and protested since October 7th. Trust me, y'all are not alone. We're the ones who answer your calls and emails. We're the ones who write legislation and advise our bosses on policy decisions. We do this because we believe in a simple fact. We need everyone to make this government work. We know that change needs to happen on the inside and outside. These past 100 days have shown that your protests, your marches, and your voices are shifting the narrative. Our combined efforts can change this government. We join the majority of Americans who are demanding an immediate ceasefire in Gaza and a release of all hostages. Hamas's October 7th attack was disgusting, and the Israeli government's blatant disregard for innocent Palestinians is disgusting. We've witnessed this humanitarian catastrophe on television, WhatsApp groups, Twitter, and Instagram. Calls have poured in across the country by the hundreds of thousands. Calls from all of you. We know this is wrong.
1 second. Medic team, we need a medic over here to stage right. We need a medic over here to stage right. If the people around could move to the side, please. They're waving the right, a white rag for, a white bag, I'm sorry. The medic team, if you guys could make your way over, please.
Well, look, hundreds of thousands of y'all have called. From all of y'all who know that this is wrong. But the majority of our elected officials have remained silent as Palestinians die. Even many Democrats who care about fighting gun violence at home stay silent while Palestinians are killed by American-made and supplied weapons. At the end of the day, it's the members of Congress's name on the door. Our decision to dissent was not made lightly. We are here because you all have inspired us to speak up, to show solidarity, and to express our humanity. The long road to peace starts with the United States supporting an immediate ceasefire and facilitating the return of Israeli hostages and arbitrarily detained Palestinians. We know that, our allies in the Biden administration know that, y'all know that. Many of our bosses privately express this same sentiment, yet will not say the same publicly. But that is starting to change. We are your allies on the other side of that phone. We are working hard. We are organizing, and we are many. We are Democrats, Republicans, and independents all across the government who refuse to let go of our humanity. Keep protesting, keep marching, and keep calling. The pressure is working. The established narrative won't change overnight, but together we are turning the tide. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. No, the real heroes are in Gaza and in the West Bank. I've been asked to read a statement from US government employees, but before I do so, I just wanted to speak specifically to the Arab Americans, to the Muslim Americans, and to the Palestinian Americans among you today, to tell you from the bottom of my heart how important your voices are. You are gathered here today to demand a ceasefire, an end to war and an end to occupation. But more than demanding a change in policy, your presence here today and every day across America is a reminder of the values this country seems to have forgotten. A belief written into our founding documents that every human being on this earth is endowed with certain unalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. For over 20 years, many in your community have been vilified, threatened, and silenced. You have been told that you do not belong here, that you are not welcome here, that you do not fit in here. Today, as we see, that could not be further from the truth. In an era of social atomization, you demonstrate the strength of community. In an era of politics divorced from accountability, you demonstrate the power of advocacy. In an era of censorship, you demonstrate courage. In an era of political enmity, you model human empathy. In an era of unfairness, you demand justice. And in an era where the world believes America has lost its credibility and its integrity, you embody our greatest values. You are the best of America, and I am humbled to be standing with you today as you raise your voices for the lives of Palestinians and for the soul of America. Our nation owes you far more than you will ever understand. On behalf of my former colleagues in government who share my concerns about the administration's approach to this conflict and the broader regional policy, I will now read the following statement on their behalf. We are the staffers of the Biden-Harris administration. We come from all walks of life, serving in the most diverse administration in US history. An administration that, in President Biden's own words, looks like America. As public servants, we believe we have a responsibility to serve the American people and challenge our nation to live up to our highest ideals. That is why we march today to make clear that we will not stay silent about the atrocities that are continuing in Gaza. Over 800 of us have signed a letter to the President, Vice President, and Cabinet members demanding an immediate and permanent ceasefire and de-escalation. We were horrified by the brutal October 7th attacks on Israeli civilians and have been horrified by the disproportionate response by the Israeli government, which has indiscriminately killed thousands of innocent Palestinian civilians in Gaza and displaced over 1 million more. We have also seen an escalation of violence in the West Bank. In the last 3 months, Israeli forces have killed over 23,350 Palestinians, including more than 9,600 children. They have injured more than 59,400 Palestinians. More than 8,000 Palestinians are still missing under the rubble. We have seen refugee camps, hospitals, schools, and entire neighborhoods bombed. We have seen men and boys pulling dead men, women, and children from the rubble in sandals with their bare hands, guided only by the light from their cell phones. We have seen cruelty, harassment, humiliation, and degradation of many kinds. This is unacceptable. We join respected institutions like the United Nations and international human rights organizations in calling for an end to this mass human suffering, and we join them in support of South Africa's case before the International Court of Justice, alleging Israel violated the Genocide Convention. There must be an immediate end to this violence, and there must be accountability for the blatant human rights abuses and mass atrocities occurring in this region. We refuse to be silent as the majority of Americans and majority of the world are calling for a ceasefire. President Biden committed to bringing humanity to our foreign policy, and we remind him that all human lives matter equally and the protection of all human rights is unconditional. Our voices and the voices of the American public that we serve demand that this violence must stop, and for this reason, we demand President Biden and members of the cabinet to speak up, call for a permanent ceasefire, a release of all hostages, including the thousands of Palestinians arbitrarily detained by Israel, and an immediate de-escalation now. Both Israelis and Palestinians have the right to live with equal rights, safety, peace, and human dignity. The peace and safety for all across the Middle East is essential. The lives of millions of people hang in the balance, in Gaza, in Israel, in the West Bank, and across the region. Thank you. Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
This is exactly why it's important for us to have representation in our government. We cannot lift our hands. The government is supposed to represent the people. Next up, one of my favorite members of Congress. Who? Anybody on the satellite truck, you need to get off. Get off the satellite truck, please. Off the satellite truck, please. Off the satellite truck, please. Okay, somebody will handle it. Next up, I'd like to introduce one of my favorite members of Congress, Congressman Andre Carson, who is 1 out of 3 Muslims serving in Congress and represents the 7th District of Indiana.
Salam alaikum. That's my sister right there. She's a general. She's a warrior. She's a leader. Look at this crowd. This is what I'm talking about. When I see this crowd, I think about an election year. When I see this crowd, I think about what it means to leverage our voting bloc. When I see this crowd, I see a movement that says we will no longer allow you to come to our masjids, to come to our iftars, to make empty promises. And when we vote you in office, you vote against our interests. Enough is enough. What's happening in Gaza is wrong. It can be frustrating when some of our friends seem to be going on with life as usual. And as though the atrocities in Gaza aren't even happening, they're going on with their lives. But for those of us who love Palestine, we see the faces of distraught mothers in our dreams. We see the ashes of Palestinian children on social media and on TV. We see the carnage and death in a place that was once where family built their lives. 23,000 souls have lost their lives so far, and I'm afraid that that number will only grow. Now, it's human to feel anger and grief and even hopelessness. But today, we should be hopeful because I see power. For you are the movement that helped to achieve a temporary ceasefire. It was you. You are the voices that are pushing back on right-wing extremism and AIPAC funding. You are posting on social media and fighting the narrative that says Palestinian lives just don't matter. Now let me assure you, Allahu Akbar. Let me assure you, as a black man who comes out of the black American indigenous Muslim experience, that we know what it means to fight against injustice. It can be lonely at times. It can be discouraging, but we haven't given up. Today, I see our community working together with allies, and it's important to have allies. We couldn't get this done without allies. The civil rights movement wouldn't have happened without allies. The desegregation of the military wouldn't have happened without allies. But we have to stay firm and not let anyone hijack our movement for their own personal gain. We have to move forward. We know that military aggression is not the answer. We know that we'll stay strong, but the world is eating out of the palm of our hands. And I don't want us to squander this moment being misled or doing silly stuff. There have been masjids who have organized all across this country in a way we've never seen. Let us use that same force to leverage our voting bloc in 2024 and re-elect people who represent us and vote out those who misrepresent us. Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Jazakallah khair.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Our next speaker comes to us virtually from the blessed city of Gaza. And we know our speaker is a journalist from Gaza who sent a special message for everyone here today. Journalist Bilal, many of you may already follow him on Instagram and other social media. Last year in December, in 2022, Bilal was covering the World Cup in Qatar. last year in 2023, he was covering the genocide of Gaza. Without further ado, Bilal.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. من هنا من قطاع غزة، من هذا القطاع المحاصر، هذا القطاع الذي ينزف، اقتربنا على 100 يوم ونحن نذبح أمام أعين العالم. اقتربنا على 100 يوم من الدمار ومن الدم ومن الصراخ، والعالم لم يحرك ساكنا. لكن نقول لكم أنتم، لكل مناصري فلسطين في كل أنحاء العالم، ولكم أنتم خصيصا في هذه التظاهرة الحاشدة في واشنطن، نحن نراكم ونحن نسمعكم. أنتم إخوتنا، أنتم أعيننا في الخارج وأنتم أصواتنا في الخارج، يدا بيد لوقف هذه المقتلة، لوقف هذه المجازر التي ترتكب بحق الأطفال وحق النساء المدنيين في قطاع غزة. نتمنى أن تنتهي هذه الإبادة الجماعية قريبا. نتمنى أن يكون هناك وقف لإطلاق النار من أجل هؤلاء المدنيين، من أجل أن تصبح غزة مكانا آمنا للعيش، مكانا يستحق الحياة الكريمة الخالية من الحروب والخالية من الصواريخ والصباحات التي نستيقظ عليها كل يوم في هذه الحرب. شكرا لكم على تضامنكم، شكرا لكم على وقوفكم بجانبنا، شكرا لكم على مقاطعتكم، وشكرا لكم على تظاهراتكم، شكرا لكم على نشاطكم على السوشيال ميديا، لأن كل هذا يعتبر هو نوع من أنواع المقاومة التي تحتاجها فلسطين وتحتاجها غزة من أجل نصرة هذه القضية ومن أجل إنهاء هذه المجازر. نتمنى السلام لشعبنا ونتمنى لكم الخير دائما، وإن شاء الله نراكم عما قريب.
For those of you who don't understand Arabic, he was thanking us for marching and for fighting for them. And so my reminder to you is, as tired as we are, imagine how they feel. We must persevere just like they are. Our next speaker is Sister Arshia Ali Khan, who is the CEO of the Muslim Legal Fund of America and the newly appointed chairwoman of the US CMO.
Salamu alaikum. Peace and blessings on each and every one of you courageous souls that have gathered here today. We stand in the heart of Freedom Plaza. Freedom Plaza, a symbolic reminder that freedom has actually never been free. It has always come at a cost. Our communities bear witness to the web of injustice on the heels of this horrific genocide. From unjust incarceration to no-fly placements to social media surveillance to media censorship to Islamophobic hate crimes, we know that freedom is indeed not free. In the face of this unspeakable genocide in Gaza, we must confront the harsh reality that the cost of freedom extends across all borders. It demands collective courage to stand up against oppression and violence. What has unfolded in Gaza is not a distant tragedy. It is a chapter in our shared history of humanity, a history that we refuse to be written in blood. Let me be crystal clear. This genocide does not make us safer. It does not protect us from hate crimes or from terrorist organizations. Instead, it perpetuates pain and vengeance. It is a stark reminder that the quest for true security cannot be built on the ruins of innocent lives, on the tears of grieving mothers and fathers, on the shattered dreams of our children. Freedom Plaza. Ignorance is not an option. And today we are here to say that silence is not an option either. We cannot ignore the role of the U.S. sending munitions, particularly the 2,000-pound MK-84 bombs in indiscriminate bombing of Gaza, manufactured in the USA. President Biden, can you hear us? You cannot tell us to end indiscriminate bombing while simultaneously supplying weapons used in these attacks. We will not accept selective morality. We refuse to live like citizens on probation. The hypocrisy of standing with Ukraine and stomping on Palestinian lives is unacceptable. The echoes of suffering in Gaza resonate with the struggle faced in Muslims globally, including the rights of Americans right here. Our destinies are intertwined, and our fight for justice is shared battle against forces of systemic oppression. 1 second. Let it be known, we stand united with Gaza for the very essence of freedom. Freedom that is compromised when governments allow genocide to continue funded with our tax dollars. Today, we demand immediate ceasefire to end the relentless assault of innocent brown lives in Palestine. I will shout from the rooftops until my voice reverberates through the halls of power, reaching decision makers and influencers. Let Gaza live! Let Gaza live! Let Gaza live!
Let Gaza live! Our next speaker is Brian Becker from the Answer Coalition.
Sisters and brothers, can I get your attention for 1 second? As we're here in Washington, D.C., between the White House and the Capitol, a ship destined to go to Israel came to the port in Oakland, California, and today the port in Oakland, California has been shut down. Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down! Sisters and brothers, Joe Biden has decided not only to fund and finance Israel's genocide in Gaza, but now to carry out a wider war by dropping bombs on the people in Yemen. And what are the people in Yemen supposedly guilty of? They are trying to stop a genocide and to shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down. What's our message? What's our message? Not just for the politicians. What's our message for our own movement? The power to make change is not going to come from the Democratic Party establishment or the Republican Party establishment. It's going to come from us. Just think of the last week. The in South Africa, they rose up. The people in South Africa 40 years ago were defined as terrorists and they were in jail, but today they accuse the genocidal maniacs in Tel Aviv before the world. On November 4th, we were here in the hundreds of thousands. Today we're in the massive numbers. We're shutting it down. Shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down.
Our next speaker is Brother Nihad Awad, who is the Executive Director of the Council of American Islamic Relations.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Peace be to you. I stand before you today as a proud Palestinian refugee. Like the millions of Palestinians who dream to go back to their homeland one day, I salute our people in Gaza and in all Palestine for their deep faith and courage and steadfastness in the face of the most brutal and immoral army on the face of the earth. I salute the people who stand up for truth and justice from South Africa to every city in the United States. And to our fellow Americans who do not support the genocide, to our fellow Americans who do not support the genocide, who are watching but still silent, I'm saying to you, your silence is a license. 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 Your silence is a license for the Israeli violence. Your silence is a license for the Israeli violence. We need your voice to be spoken out loud and immediately. Martin Luther King Jr. once said during the Vietnam War, the bombs in Vietnam explode at home and they destroy the dream and possibility for a decent America. And today, we say to President Biden, or more accurately, Genocide Joe, we say to him, the 2,000-pound bombs that you have been sending to the state of Israel explode everywhere in the world. They destroy your promise to restore the United States' reputation abroad and to repair broken alliances. We have to keep reminding this president that Benjamin Netanyahu did not put you in office, the American people did. You serve the American people, not the state of Israel. 70% of Americans are telling you, call for an immediate and permanent ceasefire now. Now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. In my personal capacity, let me say the following. We repeat what I said in November 3rd from this stage to President Biden. No ceasefire, no votes. 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 And to our fellow Americans who oppose the genocide and who are active like you, I tell you, support our members of Congress who oppose genocide. Support Representative Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Andre Carson, and the squad, and every elected member of Congress and the House and any office in the land who spoke in support of the Palestinian people. Support them. Don't let AIPAC money to defeat them because of their courage. They should not win. It is up to us. So put your votes and your money where your interest is. Support these people and defeat AIPAC and its money. Finally, towards that end, my organization, CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, would like to share the good news that we are expanding our C4 lobbying and PAC's organization in the next few days, so that we give you a voice not only in the halls of Congress, but also on the campaign trails. So stay tuned, and thank you. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Thank you.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Some housekeeping rules. For everyone who is still on the satellite truck, for everyone on the satellite truck, I need y'all to chant with me. Get off the truck! 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 For y'all to know, our goal today was to be able to get this broadcast internationally. But when they get on the truck, they ruin the broadcast. Please do not climb on any speakers. Do not climb on any of our products. If you do, you will ruin it for everyone else. Our next speaker is the director of Mass Pace, Ismahan Abdullahi.
Bismillah, I start in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, and we're seeing a little bit of a sun coming out. I don't know about you, being Californian, that's really a good thing. Sisters and brothers, as organizers of this march, we believe that you will show up strong to send a message to the Biden administration. You answered that call. You answered the cries of Gaza. Let us remind our nation that black and brown liberation is deeply, deeply intertwined with Palestinian liberation. And when you see those in power quoting MLK Jr. in the next week, yet remain silent on the Palestinian genocide, I ask you to charge them with hypocrisy. Charge them with hypocrisy. For do not be for justice only when it is written in the history books made popular by the times. Be for justice when the injustice is being witnessed live as it is in Gaza and all of Palestine. So long as the genocide in Gaza is funded by this administration, so long as world leaders turn a blind eye to the oppression of the Palestinian people, so long as Israel continues its barbaric ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, we will not relent in our efforts to demand justice and the liberation of the Palestinian people. We will not be distracted, we will not be silent, we will not be silenced, and we will not be intimidated. Just as South Africa courageously rose to rightfully charge Israel with genocide, we, the people of the United States of America, will rise and continue these efforts. What we are witnessing in the halls of power in D.C. is not democracy, and I will end with this. What we are witnessing is hypocrisy. And our call here today is simple. And I end with our Palestinian brothers in Gaza, in the West Bank, and who are here marching, and those who have spoken. You are not alone. Take a look at the streets of D.C. Take a look at the streets of the world. You are not alone. Do not be illusioned by the power of those who have the illusion of power. I say to you what the Prophet, peace be upon him, said to his companion, La tahzan, do not grieve.
Next, we have Dr. Yasir Qadi, who is the Dean of the Islamic Seminary of America and resident scholar of the East Plano Islamic Center in Plano.
Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum. At what point does the mass intentional killing of innocent civilians constitute a genocide? The most powerful nation in that region, one of the most powerful militaries of the world, is bombing one of the most defenseless communities on the face of the earth. And yet still, we are not allowed to call it a genocide. Our own Foreign Secretary, Anthony Blinken, said this is not a genocide. South Africa, that is keeping alive the legacy of Nelson Mandela, is suing Israel in the International Court of Justice, the highest court in the world, and they are charging the country with genocide. In response, Israel has said any accusations of genocide is nothing other than anti-Semitism. I say loudly and clearly, we need to call a spade a spade. This is not anti-Semitism. It is speaking the truth. The Palestinian people are live tweeting their own genocide. They're uploading images of their own massacres. Never in human history have we seen a genocide occur as vividly, in color, in living memory as we have of the Palestinian genocide. What else should we call it when 25% of Gaza has been destroyed?
Genocide!
What do we call it when 500,000 people have been displaced from their land?
Genocide!
What do we call it when 200 bombs of 2 tons each have been dropped in a small area of 2 kilometers?
Genocide!
What do we call it when the Prime Minister of Israel himself uses biblical motifs?
Genocide!
What do we call it when the Foreign Secretary and the Foreign Minister of Israel literally calls Palestinians animals?
Genocide!
All of this is nothing other than genocide. And I say loudly and clearly, this is not anti-Semitism. As I see the crowd in front of us, there are hundreds of Orthodox rabbis, thousands of Jewish people. These are our brethren. These are our brethren. They are the real followers of Moses. They are the ones who make the children of Israel proud. These are the people who show the nation of Israel what the real children of Israel are. I say loudly and clearly as a person of faith that it is not your ancestry that makes you blessed. It is your piety that makes you blessed. And I have a message to the Christians of this country. Where would Jesus stand in this conflict? Do you think he would be on the side of the oppressor, or do you think he would be on the side of the oppressed? I urge every Christian of this country to listen to the beautiful sermon given in Bethlehem 2 weeks ago on Christmas by the pastor of Bethlehem called Christ Under the Rubble. Listen to that sermon from one Christian to the others of this country and see for yourselves where Jesus would have stood. And I have a message to my fellow Americans. I am an American, born and raised in this country. There is much in this country that I'm proud of, but there are aspects that are very, very depressing, very sinister. And what comes to mind is one of the words of the founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson, in looking at slavery, he writes in his diaries, I tremble at the injustice that I see, because the God of justice does not sleep. And it's only a matter of time before the justice of God will be manifest, end quote. I too look at our country, and while I love it from the bottom of my heart, and I want the best for this country, I also say that no country that supports tyranny will ever flourish. No country that supports genocide will ever flourish. No country that kills innocent people will ever flourish. Oh, people of America, if you want your country to flourish, and I want it to flourish, if you want it to be blessed, I urge you to take a long and hard look at our irrational relationship with Israel. We have given Israel more money than any other country on the planet. In the last 75 years, we have given Israel more than $250 billion. Since World War II, America has used its veto power in the UN around 90 times, more than half of them for the country of Israel. Who does America support? Us Americans or another country? Why are our tax dollars being spent in the Middle East? We need to take our tax dollars and spend them here. We do not need to get involved in another military conflict. And instead of helping the defenseless people of Palestine, instead of asking for a ceasefire, our president unilaterally bypassed Congress and bombed one of the most disenfranchised, disempowered countries, that is Yemen. What shame on this president. Are we not sick of going to war, one war after another? When are we going to learn? This is our tax dollars. This is our country. For how long are we going to bomb? For how long are we going to invade? Where is our country and our interest? So I say loudly and clearly, this is not about Palestine. This is not about Arabs. This is not about Muslims. This is about us as a human people. This is about us as Americans. Are we going to sit by idly as we watch another genocide? 75 years ago, we heard the slogan, never again. We now have the opportunity to stand up and say, yes, indeed, never again. Not in my name, not in my name, not in my name. Shame to every single congressman or woman who supports this genocide. Shame to every single senator who supports this genocide. Shame to our Secretary of State. Shame to our president. And I say, we have judged you as losers and failures, and God will judge you in the hereafter. Wassalam and peace out.
Biden, Biden, you can't hide. You're supporting genocide. Biden, Biden, you can't hide. You're supporting genocide. Our next speaker comes from Gaza. When we got in communication with Wa'il Dahdur, we were not sure if he would be able to work with us. But Wa'il Dahdur is the perfect example of the people of Gaza. Wa'il Dahduh sent a message for everyone in this crowd and for everyone who supports justice. Without further ado, Al Jazeera journalist Wa'il Dahduh.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أولا وقبل كل شيء أود أن أنقل لكم باسمي وباسم أسرتي وباسم أسرة الصحفيين وباسم الشعب الفلسطيني هنا في قطاع غزة تحياتنا واحترامنا وتقديرنا لكل ما تفعلونه. بالتأكيد غزة هذه الأيام تمر في مرحلة عصيبة جدا، تاريخية جدا، استثنائية جدا لم تمر بها في تاريخها، ولذلك الناس هنا يدفعون أثمانا باهظة جدا ويعيشون حياة كارثية. لمن لا يعرف، لا يجد الناس الأكل أو الطعام والشراب، المسكن من الخيام، الحمام، وما تتطلبه الحياة ليست الكريمة، وإنما الحياة التي تضمن لهم الاستمرارية حتى مهما كانت الظروف. لا يجدون ذلك إلا لماما أو كفافا، ومن خلال ظروف غاية في الكارثية، غاية في الصعوبة. صحيح أن قطاع غزة يدفع الآن ثمنا باهظا، ومن بين من يدفع الصحفيين الفلسطينيين. الصحفيون الفلسطينيون في قطاع غزة يتعرضون إلى مذبحة إن صح التعبير، إلى مقتل إن صح التعبير. 112 صحفيا ومصورا حتى الآن استشهدوا في هجمات إسرائيلية متفرقة خلال 3 أشهر، وهذه أرقام صعبة لم تسقط في أعتى الحروب، حتى تلك التي استمرت 20 عاما وهي الحرب الفيتنامية. لم تسقط هذه الأرقام، ولذلك نحن كصحفيين ندفع أثمانا باهظة جدا في طريقنا وفي سبيل هذه الرسالة الإنسانية النبيلة التي كفلتها كل القوانين والمواثيق الدولية. ولكن يبدو أن الاحتلال الإسرائيلي لا يروق له أن نقوم بواجبنا على أكمل وجه وبالشكل المهني الذي ترتضيه المواثيق، مواثيق الشرف للعمل الصحفي والمهني. مع الأسف هذا هو واقعنا. فقدنا الأسرة، وفقدنا الولد، وفقدنا الصديق، وفقدنا المكتب، وفقدنا المنزل، وفقدنا المأوى، ونعيش مشردين ونعمل من خلال كل هذه الأوجاع وكل هذه الآلام وكل هذه الأثمان، ومع ذلك ما زلنا مستمرون. أؤكد لكم أننا سوف نستمر في حمل هذه الرسالة وفي أداء هذا الواجب. كما تشاهدون شهيد آخر يسقط في هجمات إسرائيلية جديدة ومستمرة على قطاع غزة. نحن الصحفيين سوف نستمر في حمل هذه الرسالة. ما يقوينا هو الله سبحانه وتعالى الذي يمدنا بالصبر وبرباطة الجأش وبالقوة وبالقدرة على المواصلة. ما يواسينا ويسلينا أنتم في مظاهراتكم، في اعتصاماتكم، في كلامكم، في تفاعلكم على مواقع السوشيال ميديا. أنتم كلمة سر، لا تستهينوا بأي جهد تقومون به من أجل نصرة الحق ونصرة القضية الفلسطينية، نصرة المظلومين. فنحن إخوانكم على الأقل في الإنسانية، وهذه غاية نبيلة وسامية لا يعمل من أجلها إلا الكرماء. وبالتالي لا تستهينوا بجهودكم التي تقومون بها. أود أن أشكركم وأقول لكم بأننا نقدر ما تقومون به. شكرا جزيلا لكم على كل ما تقومون، ونسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن تنتهي هذه الحرب المجنونة، وأن نراكم في ظروف أفضل من هذه الظروف إن شاء الله. تحيتي لكم، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام. Okay. One moment. So there's a 3-year-old boy missing. He's wearing a red jacket. If you see a 3-year-old boy with a red jacket, bring him up to the stage. A 3-year-old boy with a red jacket. We see him? 10-year-old? A 10-year-old boy with a red jacket. Huh? Mahmoud. His name is Mahmoud. Okay. There's a 3-year-old and a 10-year-old. Both of them are missing. A 3-year-old and a 10-year-old. If you see them, bring them up to the stage. The 3-year-old is wearing a red jacket. What is the 10-year-old wearing? A blue jacket. 10-year-old in a blue jacket, 3-year-old in a red jacket. Okay, found the 3-year-old. Okay, alhamdulillah. So Wa'il al-Dahdouh is literally the epitome of Palestinian resistance. And at the end of it, he said, I hope to see you all on better terms. So may God protect him and the remaining journalists in Gaza. Next up, we have Medea Benjamin, who is the co-founder of the women-led peace group Code Pink.
My name is Medea Benjamin with Code Pink. And we have been walking the halls of Congress every day for the last 3 months. But I'm asking for your help because we need to flood Congress. We need more people. Join us. We're there every day, 10 a.m. in the heart building of the Senate. We need them to know we will not stand by while they continue to support the genocide, right? But today I want to address the occupant in the White House. You know that Joe Biden used to cultivate an image of himself as this nice, kind Uncle Joe. He knew the value. He knew the value of human life because he had suffered such losses himself. Now, he is no longer the comforter-in-chief. He is known as Genocide Joe. So when I say Genocide Joe, I want you to lift your hands in the air and say, the blood is on your hands. Genocide Joe. President Biden. For decades now, every time the Palestinian people have risen up against the 75-year-old brutal Israeli occupation, instead of sympathizing with their plight and seeking a real solution, you have reiterated your rock-solid support for their oppressor. Genocide Joe, the blood is on your hands. President Biden, in these last terrifying 3 months, when we have witnessed the murder of over 10,000 precious Palestinian children, when we have heard their soul-wrenching cries trapped in the rubble, instead of demanding that Israel immediately stop this atrocity, you bypass Congress to send more weapons. Genocide Joe, the blood is on your hands. President Biden, the overwhelming majority of countries came together at the UN to put an end to the slaughter, and instead, you vetoed the UN resolution, Genocide Joe. And when your own campaign staff say that it is a moral and electoral imperative for you to publicly call for a ceasefire, please don't wonder why you've lost the support of the young people, the Muslim community, progressive Jews like myself, Time will not heal this wound. Come November, we will remember, because Genocide Joe. But to counter these policies and those of Congress people in the pocket of AIPAC, just look around. We are building a beautiful, enormous, multi-generational, multi-ethnic groundswell of support for the Palestinian people. One that will not be appeased or bought or contained or stopped, that will only keep growing and growing until Palestine is free. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine!
Okay, so remember the guys that were standing on the satellite truck? They took the driver's keys and threw them in the crowd. So if somebody can please locate the keys of the satellite truck and give it up to us over here.
Free, free Palestine! Our next speaker comes from the Muslim Students Association, a Palestinian student, Watfa Zayed.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That was beautiful, thank you. My name is Watfa Zayed and I'm from Chicago, Illinois, home to one of the largest Palestinian populations in the diaspora. But more importantly, I am a proud Palestinian. I am a recent graduate of DePaul University, one of the many universities in the United States that has yet to support its Palestinian students. We have seen our universities call what is happening in Gaza everything except what it actually is, a genocide. Rather than extending empathy to Palestinian students and staff, students are being denied admission from schools, professors and administrators are losing their jobs, and campuses are becoming unsafe. Personally, my brother had a rock thrown at him on our campus in Chicago for wearing a kufiya. My cousin, also wearing a kufiya, was spit on at his campus at Yale University. Yes. I'm sorry? What? Hilda. Okay, sorry. Anyway. It is no shock to any of us that there has been an increase in hate crimes against Muslims and Palestinians on our school campuses. But our universities will not admit that. Us student organizers, however, know that this did not begin on October 7th. Our efforts for Palestine have been silenced for years. We have been forced to sit in classrooms where our professors speak ignorantly about our people. In undergrad, I served as our Student Government Association president and was told that I cannot talk about Palestine because I represent all students. At one point, I was even asked to sit down with Zionist students and hear their concerns and work with them. While I was proud that a Palestinian finally had a seat at the table, I was basically told to be careful not to see things one-sidedly. I was threatened on social media and doxxed. Now, 2 years later, nothing has changed. Students are losing their internships, presidents of universities being forced to resign, and worst of all, we are not safe. Wearing the hijab, wearing the kufiya, praying in public, even our names make us targets. But if we look back to the first intifada of 1987, we are reminded that the revolution was led by the shabab, by the youth of Palestine. I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge that most of the efforts we have seen throughout the past 3 months are led by college students. They say the old will die and the young will forget, but will we forget? To the students in the crowd today, if you have not yet gotten involved in your SJP, now is the time. If your school does not have an SJP, start one. Get involved in your MSAs. Make noise. Stop being apologetic. Being an organizer is not an uncool thing. It's the coolest thing you can do. Throughout the past few months, we have seen our college SJPs and MSAs hard at work, leading our protests, speaking to the press, phone banking, the list goes on. We are extremely privileged to be at our universities and colleges. Although we feel scared of the consequences, our brothers and sisters in Gaza are saying, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. Allah is enough for us and He is the best disposer of our affairs. We need to be saying the same here in the diaspora. While the feeling of survivor's guilt weighs on us, let's challenge those emotions into doing everything we can to show the world Palestinian students exist. And we will not be silenced. Repeat after me. We will free Palestine, within our lifetime. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Alana Hadid, an influential activist and advocate for social change. She's recognized for her unwavering commitment to creating a more equitable and inclusive world. Please help me in welcoming Alana.
Thank you. I'd like to pause and recognize that in the next few minutes while I speak, more Palestinians will be murdered by the State of Israel. My name is Alana Hadid, and I am the child of a Nakba survivor. It has been said before, but it bears repeating. This did not start on October 7th. My father, Mohammed Hadid, was made a refugee by the creation of Israel in 1948 before he could walk. My grandparents were violently expelled from their homes and the towns their ancestors helped build at the hands of Zionists who planned for their expulsion decades in advance. The Nakba never ended. From 1948 until now, the mass expulsion, displacement, targeted killing, and ethnic cleansing of Palestinians has persisted. And I condemn Israel for all of it. I will say that again. I condemn Israel for every day of Palestinian suffering at their hands from 1948 until today. Today, we are watching a genocide on our screens. We are seeing an ongoing Nakba on social media. The horrors that are reality for Gaza and the West Bank for 100 days on our phones for the world to see. Babies are dying in Gaza before they are given birth certificates. Palestinians are carrying their family members in body bags. Each day, 247 Palestinians are killed, 1 every 6 minutes. 48 mothers every 2 hours. 30,000 children orphaned. More than 7,000 people missing or stuck under the rubble. Close to 30,000 killed by Israel's genocide. This is not a reality I can live with. I refuse to live in a world where my father cannot live and die where he was born. I refuse to live in a world where Nakba survivors are displaced again and again by the genocide and unjust war on Gaza. I refuse to live in a world where families are wiped from the earth by missiles signed and funded by American politicians and our hard-earned tax dollars. I refuse to live in a world where children's hands dig for their families or journalists are targeted for showing the world the truth. I refuse to live in a world where famine and thirst are imposed as a tactic of genocide. I refuse to live in a world where Palestinians are told our lives don't matter by a country we fund and politicians we voted into office. Palestine has been showing their devastation to the world every day for over 3 months. The brutality of this genocide, occupation, and the ongoing Nakba by the State of Israel have been laid in front of the world, and the people have spoken. We have flooded the streets, taken to social media, called our representatives, boycotted, shut down bridges, streets, and businesses, and still our government and media are complicit. This is not democracy. President Biden, we the people demand to be heard. We the people demand justice. We the people demand liberation. We the people demand an end to a genocide and an end to a brutal occupation of Palestine. We the people vote in leaders we trust, and Biden and those loyal to AIPAC, we see you, and we do not trust you. We know you hear us. We will not be silenced. We know our votes matter to you. We will not tire. We will not stop. We will continue to fight for collective and universal freedom and equality for all. We will remember in November. And we demand a free Palestine. Palestine is freeing the world, and we will see a free Palestine, a free Congo, a free Sudan, Tigray, Armenia, Ethiopia, Haiti, Yemen. We will see land back and liberty for all indigenous communities. Collective freedom is what Palestinian has taught the world. Bravery and perseverance is what Palestinians have shown us day after day, not just for 100 days, but 75 years, and we must continue the struggle for them. We must keep speaking for those this world has set out to silence. We are the voice of Palestine, and we are saying no more. To everyone out there fighting for liberation, we see you, we hear you. Do not stop. This is our time, and our voices will be heard. We invite the world to join us. It's not too late to be an agent of change. We together can unite for collective liberation. Together, we are more powerful to make change than anyone who seeks to oppress us. To Palestine, I love you. We love you. Your bravery and strength to those living and lost will serve in our heart to fuel our fire to freedom forever. It's ceasefire now, end the occupation, end the blockade, liberation, and freedom for all. Free, free Palestine from the river to the sea.
Free, free Palestine! We are coming to our conclusion. We have 3 more speakers that we know you guys want to hear from. The first is our Imam, Omar Sulaiman.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Behind me, you have over 200 martyrs that are represented by their families. 200 martyrs whose stories were never told in the mainstream media, posters that you have not seen on the light poles here in Washington, D.C., or in New York, or in Chicago, or in Dallas. And all of us represent now over 36,000 people that have either been martyred or that are under the rubble. And I want you to appreciate that in this country, this isn't our first protest. We have taken to the streets in the name of one victim of state violence for months at a time. If we were to take to the streets for every single casualty and every single person that is under the rubble for the last 3 months, it would take us 100 years to honor each and every single one of those victims. And if we were to collectively take to the streets for the rest of our lives, for just one of the people on these posters, for just one wa'al al-dahduh, it would be worth it. They ask us where our Nelson Mandelas are. We say that our Mandela is suing you criminals at The Hague right now for genocide. We say that our Mandelas are the children that have resisted over 7 decades of occupation standing in front of Israeli tanks. We say that our Mandelas are the Walid Dahdours and the Mu'tazis of the world who continue to hold up cameras to your genocide unintimidated. We say that our Mandelas are the Rachel Corries of the world, are the allies of Palestine, that despite all of the Israeli propaganda over these years, have never relented in standing by our side and saying that we will not go home until every Palestinian can go home. Dear brothers and sisters, I wonder what Desmond Tutu, who went to Palestine and recognized apartheid and said this is even worse than what we experienced in South Africa, and who particularly bemoaned watching ambulances blocked by checkpoints and apartheid walls. I wonder what he would say watching this genocidal government bomb hospitals and ambulances today. I want to capture not just the cruelty of the moment. I want to capture the insanity of the moment. How low is the threshold? How low the barometer that calling for a ceasefire is too much for some politicians and media commentators and people who claim to be for human rights with the backdrop of 10,000 murdered children? How low is the threshold of morality? And so we say that if with the backdrop of genocide, you have still not found it in your moral conscience to call for a ceasefire, you are heartless. And we say that if with the backdrop of the occupation and apartheid that enabled the genocide in the first place, you still have not called for the end of the decades-long atrocities against our people, you are shameless. And if you have failed to see our humanity, we have not failed to see your hypocrisy. And you've made it clear that shipping lanes in Yemen are more important to you than our lives. And you've made it clear that you want our votes without hearing our voices. But we're going to make you hear our voice today on behalf of all of these families and all of the martyrs and all of those that are still standing strong. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., we charge you with genocide. 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 Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Our next speaker is one of our favorite Palestinian American singers and songwriters, Anis.
Thank you all for being here. When I look out into this crowd, I see proof that Palestine will be free one day. So be proud of yourselves for being here. I've written a poem that I want to share with you that I feel many of us in the diaspora can relate to. It's called I Don't Feel Safe as a Palestinian. I don't feel safe as a Palestinian. Would you, now that you've seen all the terror and the trauma we're put through, now that you've seen the dead babies and the families under rubble, even in the comfort of our home and in the safety of our bubbles, I don't feel safe as a Palestinian. I never have. Ever since I was a kid, I felt the target on my back. All the classmates got to celebrate the land of their ancestors. But I saw the way the hatred and the racism would fester any time I had the nerve to get excited or express how I am blessed to be Palestinian, so I learned to repress. I don't feel safe as a Palestinian. I wish I did. I wish I wasn't so concerned that one day I'll have a kid, and that kid won't understand why we can't visit the land where Siti lived, why there's no birthright for the indigenous. I don't feel safe as a Palestinian. Even here in America, where I'm supposed to live without a fear, but a 6-year-old Palestinian was stabbed to death and 3 college students were shot for the scarf around my neck. How dare we dare to exist? If our existence is a threat, then I don't feel safe as a Palestinian. Why should I? I've been watching genocide for months, documented live. These people look like you and I. We've heard every scream and cry, but our president sent them billions so millions more could die. I don't feel safe as a Palestinian. But that will change. I know one day our homeland will live a life without this pain. Their screams will be of joy. Their tears will be of laughter. The people of Palestine will live happily ever after. We will be safe as Palestinians. One day soon, they cannot break us, they cannot shake us, no matter what evil they use, no matter how many they kill, no matter what bullets they shoot. You can't break the soul of a native people who refuse to accept their occupation. So no matter what they do, we will be safe as Palestinians. It's just a matter of time. From out of the hell of darkness, the light of freedom will shine. From under the city's rubble, Gaza's people will rise and dismantle the occupation, because within our lifetime, we will finally be safe as Palestinians. Don't ever lose your hope. They can steal land, they can steal homes, they can steal a lot of things from us, but they can never steal our joy, they can never steal our art, and they can never steal our hope. Free, free Palestine! Louder, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Let Biden hear you. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Within our lifetime! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Within our lifetime! Keep going. Free Palestine.
We will free Palestine within our lifetime. It is my honor to introduce the scholar, the theologian, Dr. Cornell West.
Let the word go forth here and now that we are going to hold up the blood-stained banner and the tear-soaked cause of our precious Palestinian brothers and sisters. Not just in Gaza and West Bank, but all around the world. And it is in the name of truth, and the condition of truth is to allow suffering to speak. In the name of justice. And justice is what love looks like in public. Yes, it's indeed true that Brother Martin Luther King Jr. would have been 95 years old on Monday. And he, like myself, comes from a tradition of a great black people who have been hated and terrorized and traumatized for 400 years, but we still here fighting, we still here swinging. So I'm here to let my precious Palestinian brothers and sisters and siblings know that when I think of where I come from, for every generation, we have love warriors who were willing to live and who are willing to die. Martin Luther King Jr. said, I'd rather be dead than afraid. I'd rather be a corpse than a coward. We need courage. We need love and freedom in love. Don't Don't let anybody lie on you and say that we here in the name of hatred. We don't hate anybody. We love Palestinians. We love oppressed people no matter where they are, any corner of the globe. They could be on the chocolate side of Washington, D.C. They could be Dalits in India. They could be landless peasants in Brazil. They can be indigenous peoples. They can be Iranians. They can be Iraqis. Anybody. This is a human thing we're here for. So when you hear all the lies that hide and conceal the crimes, remember what Brother Martin used to say, no lie can live forever. Truth crushed the earth shall rise again. I see it in your faces. I see it in your eyes. I see it in your hearts. I see it in your bodies. And oh, I wish you can see how beautiful you look. Isn't that the truth? Beautiful you look. All the different colors and genders and cultures and sexual orientations and national identities. Why? Because you're here in the name of truth and justice, and we are going to raise our voices, put our bodies on the line, and yes, even go to jail and even die. Oh, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story. December 17th, 1951, there was a great black brother named Paul Robeson. Y'all know who Paul Robeson was? Give it up for Paul Robeson. He went to the United Nations with a petition that said, we charge genocide. He was talking about black people in the American Empire. And it is consistent to be in solidarity with South Africa, because we don't have to charge genocide. We see it with our very eyes, day in and day out. Those precious babies, the precious men, the precious women. What kind of world are we living in? America, what kind of country? What kind of empire? All of that barbarity, all of that bestiality, and we still have to march in Washington before the Capitol and the White House. My God. It's true. It's amazing to me when I think of Biden and Harris and Austin and Blinken and Sullivan and Kirby. I can mention all the names. And I don't speak in a spirit of hatred. I speak in a spirit of love for oppressed folk, which leads me to hate domination, occupation, subjugation, degradation, any form that loses sight of the humanity of people. And I say personally to Biden and company, you're not just enabling, you're not just facilitating, you're not just coagulating and cooperating with vicious crime of genocide. That makes you war criminals yourself. You ought to be ashamed. Who do you think we are? You think that you can suppress the love that we have for our Palestinian brothers and sisters? No, you got the wrong people. And I would say the same thing if they were Jewish brothers and sisters. The same thing if they were Haitian brothers and sisters. Same things as Ethiopian brothers and sisters. Don't get it twisted. We trying to have some space of morality and spirituality in a moment of overwhelming barbarity. And I can hear the voices of Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass
I can hear the voices of Claudia Jones. I can hear the voices of W.B. Du Bois. I can hear the voices of John Coltrane's Love Supreme. I can hear the voices of Curtis Mayfield. I can hear the voices of Gil Scott-Heron. They're not just isolated names. They are forces in history that constitute our souls so that we can straighten our backs up. And Brother Martin used to say, anytime, every day people straighten their backs up, they're going somewhere, because folk can't ride your back unless it's bent. Our backs are straight. Our backs are ready. We are fortified. We ready to fight. We ready to resist with resilience. And when they tell us that the claims of our South African brothers and sisters are meritless, and you see they've said the names a number of times, so you know they got talking points. Meritless. Have you seen Gaza? Have you seen West Bank? Not just after August 7th. Did you see it in 1948? Did you see it in 1967? Did you see it in 2008? Did you see it in 2014? And you're still looking, and all you can say is meritless. Biden, how cold-hearted and mean-spirited can you be? Got the nerve to go down to a black church where black people were crushed by some sick white supremacist brother. And then you know you're enabling blowing up mosques in Gaza, blowing up churches in Gaza, blowing up places where Jesus himself was born. I'm a Christian. I'm a revolutionary Christian. I come out of the household of Irene and Clifton. I come out of Shiloh Baptist Church. I'm influenced by the Black Panther Party. Don't tell me that you can see what I see and call it meritless. We'll never put up with that. We'll never accommodate ourselves to that. And that's why we call it for more than a ceasefire. We want an end to the siege. We want an end to the occupation. We want Palestinians to live a life of dignity. Am I going on too long? One last point. Because we're getting ready to march. Oh, yeah. But when I talk about free Palestine, and one of these days it's going to happen, I may not live to see it for myself, but I know I would have done all that I could to bear witness with every bone in my body. But I want that free Palestine to be a place where we're able to bring together human beings in such a way that, yes, we would be concerned about Jewish safety and security. Nobody's calling for the annihilation of Jewish brothers and sisters, but you'll never have Jewish security, you'll never have Jewish safety if you don't have Palestinian security, if you don't have Palestinian safety. That's what we're talking about. We want equality. We want equality. We want equality.
Thank you, Dr. Cornell West. Now it's my honor to introduce the final speaker, my boss, the Executive Director of American Muslims for Palestine, Dr. Osama Abu Rashid.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, heroes. Yes, yes, you are heroes. The vanguard of justice, the voice of the voiceless, the voice of the oppressed, the voice of the Gazan people. Yes, you are. Be proud of yourself. We are proud of who we are. We are proud of what we stand for. And we are proud of who we stand for and who we stand against. Let the deaf hear. Let the blind see that we are here in the tens of thousands from all over America. We came here in the tens of thousands and bribed. Did any one of you get $250 to be here? Just a few weeks ago, Zionists were marching in Washington, D.C. A few thousands of them. A few of those who are morally corrupted were here, bribed, bought off, paid $250 to be here. But we, the tens of thousands, the hundreds of thousands of us, we came here on our own dime. We came here because we are proud of what we stand for. Because we know the Gazan people are the oppressed. Because we know that Israel is a genocidal state. Because we know that Schumer, that Biden, that Hakeem Jeffrey should be ashamed of themselves. We come to stand with people like Professor Cornell West. We are proud standing next to him, but I am not proud to be next to Joe Biden. We're not. We're here because we celebrate Martin Luther King. Does anyone celebrate George Wallace? Do you even know who George Wallace is? Does anyone give a damn about George Wallace? Does anyone give a damn about Benjamin Netanyahu? Does anyone give a damn about Genocide Joe? But we all care for the people of Gaza, and we are them. History will celebrate you. History will register your names. History will register the victory of Gaza. And history will disregard Genocide Joe, Hakeem Jeffrey, Schumer, and the rest of the gang, the corrupt gang. My dear brothers and sisters, this is not a one activity for Palestine. What we do here is not the end of it. It didn't start today. It's not going to end tomorrow. We have to continue this work. We are ushering a new era in America. An era for a free Palestine. Not only to end genocide. Genocide will come to an end with our collective voices, with us collectively demanding it, enforcing it. We're not gonna forget, we're not gonna forgive. We will not. Those who are being tried now before the ICJ, whether they're condemned or not, we condemn them for genocide. Those apologists of them, those who are defending them, those who are providing them with the diplomatic immunity, we know that you are as implicated as Israel. We know that when this administration calls the charge against genocide Israel meritless, is that they are meritless. They should be ashamed of themselves. Shame on them. Joe Biden, Anthony Blinken, Austin, they know that they are as criminal as Netanyahu, as Ben Gvir, as Smotrich, as Gallant, as Israel. We know that. That's why they call it meritless. No basis. Screw you, Joe Biden. Screw you. Screw you, Joe Biden. You would never be able to take away from us our freedom of expression. We would never be deterred by what you accuse us of being anti-Semitic. We're not the anti-Semitics here. We are for justice for all. It is you who are fueling anti-Semitism. When you claim that Israel is the embodiment of Judaism, when you claim that the Israeli people are the embodiment of Jews, they're not representatives of Jews. And we don't accept that you infringe on our freedom of expression. If you were able to fire university presidents because they stood for First Amendment, we're not going to allow you to compromise our First Amendment. We're not going to be deterred by you. This is a movement. The history, the future belongs to us. Younger Americans, you are the majority who condemn Israel, who sympathize with Palestine. Not because they're Palestinians, not because they're Muslims vis-a-vis Jews, or Christians vis-a-vis Jews, or Jews vis-a-vis others. It's not because of that. It's because we stand on a principle. We stand for justice for all, for any oppressed people. I am a proud Palestinian. I am a proud Arab. I am a proud Muslim. If Jews were being massacred the way the Palestinians are being massacred, wallahi, I'll be standing here, speaking on their behalf, defending them. I am not proud to say that I'll be like Joe Biden, a man who subscribes to selective humanity, selective morality. This corrupt administration was prompt in supporting the ICC, accusing Vladimir Putin, another corrupt, another dictator like this stupid guy here behind me, accusing him of what? Of genocide. Accusing Russia of committing genocide in Ukraine, although the US doesn't even recognize the ICC. But suddenly we have some moral authority, as he claims. We go against Russia. We go against Vladimir Putin. We see the crimes that Russia is committing in Ukraine. But when it comes to Israel, there is no genocide. Anthony Blinken suddenly is a blind person. Anthony Blinken suddenly is a deaf person. Anthony Blinken, whose hard acts over the Palestinian children being pulled from under the wreckage, still has the audacity to call it meritless, accusing Israel of being a genocidal state. So let me tell you this. We don't subscribe to selective humanity. We don't subscribe to selective morality. We subscribe to humanity, we subscribe to morality, and we subscribe to justice, and we subscribe to ejecting these corrupt politicians from office. I'll end with this. I am proud to be the executive director of the American Muslim for Palestine. I'm proud to be the executive director of its affiliate 501c4 organization, Americans for Justice in Palestine Action, AGP Action, a lobbying organization for Palestine. I am proud of this collective effort by the Muslim Task Force, by American Muslim Task Force, by our staff. I'm proud that we have made this a reality. I am proud that we believed in you, and you believed in us, and we believe Palestine will be free. And I am proud to tell you that this fight will continue. That does not end here. One, do you see a petition here? Tax Gaza to 21,000. Everyone, I know maybe you don't have service here. Tax Gaza tax Gaza to 21,000. Don't go home today, tonight, before you tax Gaza to 21,000, number one. Two, this is a movement. Be part of it. Go to our website, American Business of Palestine, or AMP.org, AGPaction.org. Become a member. Become a member of JVP. Become a member of this movement. Become a member of Code Pig. Support all of these organizations. icna-mas, CARE, MLFA, MUNA, all of these organizations. Become active. This is what's going to change things. Don't be less enthusiastic. Don't be less passionate about your cause. Make sure that your corrupt politicians hear from you. If they're good, thank them. But if they're bad on Palestine, make sure that they hear you. Continue to fight for Palestine. Leave tonight home more committed that this is a movement. I am an integral part of it. It's not going to work without me. It is a collective responsibility, but it is also a personal responsibility. We are going to reconstruct this hope. We are going to realize it. We are going to ensure Palestine will be free. We were going to ensure that America will be free. We were going to ensure that no more cheating, no more deception, no more politician promising us equality, freedom, justice for all, when they are the most morally bankrupt people who continue to lie and think that they can get away with it. We will make sure that we don't forget and we don't what? Forgive. We don't, right? Palestine will be free. Gaza will be victorious. We are not running away. The Gaza people are standing tall on their land. They are not fleeing. They are not leaving their homeland. They will come back to the same houses that Israel destroyed. They will be rebuilt. Palestine will continue to be on the map. Tell Netanyahu, screw you, screw your map, screw your government. We will dismantle this apartheid state. We will dismantle this genocide state. Only justice will bring all to live in peace. Muslim, Christian, Jews, all people will live in peace. When Israel, in its current form, as a current structure, will cease to exist, but freedom and justice will prevail and continue to exist. Assalamu alaikum.
Free Palestine! We have a chant in Arabic for our people in Gaza. When I say Ana Raja' Raja', I need you guys to respond Raja'. So everything I say, y'all just say Raja', okay? You ready? Let's try it out. Ana Raja' Raja'. There we go. Ana Raja' Raja'. Ana Raja' Raja'. أنا راجع عبيت حانون على جباليا. أنا راجع أنا راجع على الشجاعية على الزيتون. أنا راجع بيت حانون بيت حانون. Free Palestine. Now I am going to ask you all to start making your way over to 14th Street. But as you do so, let's make sure the people in Gaza hear us. Let's do this together. Gaza, 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 Gaza. Gaza, 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 Gaza. Gaza, 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 Gaza. We ask you all to be mindful. If you are on my right side, the right of the stage, Feel free to exit from that side. Feel free to exit from that side. Use both sides of the street. We have all this area. Go up 14th. We want to be as safe as possible. Take your time. Go in the way that makes most sense for you. But as you go, let's keep chanting. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! End the occupation now! End the occupation now! End the siege on Gaza now! End the siege on Gaza now! Free, free Palestine! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Let Gaza live! 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 Hey, hey, ho, ho, the occupation's got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho, the occupation's got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho, the occupation's got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho, the occupation's got to go. Ho, ho, the occupation's got to go. As we march up 14th to the White House, let's let them hear us. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Genocide Joe has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Genocide Joe has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Genocide Joe has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Ho, ho. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Biden, Biden, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Biden, Biden, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Bloody Blinken, Genocide Joe. Both of them have got to go. Bloody Blinken, Genocide Joe. Both of them have got to go. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. End the occupation now. End the siege on Gaza now. End the siege on Gaza now. Stop killing children. 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 Stop killing children! Stop killing children! Stop killing children! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Let Gaza live! 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 You guys good to go? You guys good to go? You're setting up, you're taking out? All right, y'all can start taking down. I'm going to just keep singing. Free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine. End the occupation now. End the siege on Gaza 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 now. Hey, hey, ho, ho. The occupation's got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. The occupation's got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Genocide Joe has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Genocide Joe has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Genocide Joe has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now.